back to Unlocking Our Code podcast. I'm Lou and I'm here with Evie.
Hi.
Hey, are you ready to dive into this one?
Yes, I'm excited about this one. This is a good one.
All right, cool. So we are going to get into it. And we're going to talk about connection and being connected, how we go from being disconnected to connection, to feeling connected to something greater, something more than just us, because we're definitely not alone here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely think there's a moment, there's a moment in time. Sometimes it's very subtle, sometimes it's loud, when we all ask ourselves, how did I get so far from who I really am? We hustle, we perform, we achieve. And somewhere in the chase for enoughness, enough success, enough love, enough validation, we really lose sight on the one thing that truly matters, and that's connection. And not just connections to others, but like connection to ourselves, to our emotions, our intuition, to the divine, to a higher good, to greater powers, to God, to the universe, whatever you want to call it, right? And the disconnection, it doesn't always look like a breakdown. Sometimes it's in the overachieving, the overgiving, the overcompensating. It's in being everything for everyone except for yourself. So in today's episode, we're talking about what it really means to live connected, what it costs when we don't, and what it takes to find our way back. So it isn't about perfection, again. It's just about awareness. It's about choosing peace over performance and learning to surrender, not because we're weak, but because we're finally ready to be whole. So this is just a conversation. It's an invitation to pause, to reflect, to return to yourself, because we were never meant to just survive out here. We were meant to live. But before we can truly live connected, we have to be honest, right? We have to really be honest about what disconnected us in the first place. What masks did we wear? What roles did we play just to feel worthy? So we'll just start there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like this is going to rip me open.
Yeah, I could tell that it's going to actually be going there for sure.
Yeah. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not ready. I mean, yeah, it's one of those things where I think it definitely was a journey for me. It definitely led me back to connection. So let's talk about the quiet unraveling. There's a moment in every woman's life when she looks around and she realizes that she's built everything she's thought she wanted, but somehow she still feels empty. And that was me. I had the job, the title, the salary, the image. On paper, I feel like I looked successful. In reality, I felt like I was drowning in a life that looked quote unquote perfect, but I felt empty. I didn't know who I was. I was on autopilot all the time. I was working, performing, pretending, kind of like a puppet, just a shell of a woman holding it all together. But I was falling apart inside. I was a mom, but definitely not present. I was a wife, but I had no connection. I felt like I had little to no connection. I was a leader to my team at the time, but I wasn't whole. Somehow my life became a checklist of achievements I thought I would make, that I thought it was going to make me feel worthy. Like I thought it was gonna I feel like the higher I went, the less I felt inside. But that's where it began for me, in the middle of success, in the middle of success, but really like at the end of my inner self. Like that was how I ended, like how that story ended for me, but how my life really began. As many of you guys know my story, from being in the corporate world and just kind of climbing the corporate ladder, which that was for 15 years. overseeing teams and just managing millions of dollars in budgets and carrying that title kind of makes people feel a certain way. I was making good money. I felt like out of respect. I felt like I always had to prove myself, though. I was always like I had to prove myself. I just wasn't, the recognition. But what nobody was really seeing was that it was a mask that I had to wear every single day, exhausting. Behind that quote unquote confident woman I was terrified. I was terrified that someone was going to find out that who I really was. I was exhausted. Behind that ambition that I had, that I felt like I didn't even want, at the same time I didn't even want it, I was just hustling to show my worth, like to show that I was worth it, that I was enough, right? But I felt like I was a scared little girl trying to prove that I was just enough every day. I was not even working from passion anymore. It was fear of being replaced, fear of being forgotten, fear of slowing down, fear of not being able to provide my family what I wanted to provide. At home, I was disconnected. I was parenting on autopilot, performing. I was just performing again. Instead of connecting with my children, I was always on autopilot. I saw my husband not as my partner, but as a threat to my independence. And that goes back to like the boss bitch mentality. Mm-hmm. And I made sure to tell him that too. Mm-hmm. That I could survive 1,000% without him. I made sure to reiterate that to him. Love for me felt like weakness, and success was my armor. Big time. It took me so many years to realize that version of me that I had created, that strong, unbreakable woman, was built on survival, not even close to self-awareness. For me, I was just going fast, but I was heading nowhere, and that was my disconnect right there. That's where I know, towards the end of that, I know I was not connected to anything. And that was probably one of the most painful things that I had to deal with, that I had to see everything that I created for all these years, what I was chasing, further away from connection than anything else. That's my story. That's my disconnect. That's what I realized.
Yeah. And I think a lot of women can identify with that, right? I can identify with most of what you just said, because I also had a very similar chapter. We even worked in the same company, and part of my disconnect came from that, from also titles, success, allowing the ego to take over in my life, right? I feel like it began, for me, my disconnect began at a very young age, right? I'm the oldest daughter, like I've said before. And I carried huge responsibility all my life since a very young age. Since I could ever recollect or have a memory, my life has just been being the one that carries a heavy weight for the family, right? I just been that person. And my disconnect began from, I would say, around my teenage years, 7th grade, 8th grade. My disconnection began there, because I could remember, elementary, things were happening already, but I was still not fully disconnected. I could recall definitely middle school began, and then just my life began unfolding. Everything that happened, everything that was happening to me, the pain, the trauma, the abuse, the sexual abuse, the toxic relationships, all of it was playing a part, and I felt like it kept pulling me further and further and further from anything greater than me, right? All I would see was just darkness. No matter where I turned right, I turned left, there was no light. I couldn't, or at least I could not see it from that point of view since a very young age. And I think the unraveling of it all, once the whole collapse of that, was definitely around 2015, which is when I hit one of the biggest rock bottoms of my life, right? So by then, all of these situations had already been playing in the back end since a very young age. This was just all of it. All of the energy kind of coming together and then boom, collapsing in one moment, right?
Do you feel like at such a young age, we can get disconnected on a subconscious, like on a conscious level? Or I guess, wait, I'm trying to figure out how I'm asking it, I want to make sure I'm asking it correctly. It's, I feel that, see, the difference is, I think I disconnected almost, I can't even say on purpose, but I almost want to say on purpose in order to survive. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's when I made the conscious decision to disconnect. I feel like I made it consciously. Do you feel at a younger age, the age that you were when you feel like you were disconnected, do you feel like that was almost on that same level?
Conscious?
Yeah.
No. Conscious, no. It was, for me, it was just pure pain.
Yeah.
Just nothing but darkness that led me to that. That led me to begin believing that there was nothing good in life. Nothing good. Nothing. Stop believing in God. Stop praying. Stop writing. Stop expressing myself. Because at such a young age, I was already living very intense moments. I had, even before. But at 7th grade, I'm already having a higher level of awareness and saying, okay, nothing good has ever happened to me, right?
Yeah.
So then I just kept
fed. It's just me.
Just keep feeding. I kept feeding that energy that led to this huge disconnect.
Okay. I totally get that. I want to talk about what it has cost us to be disconnected. I know things that can take us there. Trauma, like we mentioned, survival mode takes us there. Victim mentality can take us there. Fear, definitely.
Shame, guilt.
Yes. All those like low level, what is it? The vibrating levels. All those emotions can take us there. And when we're there, what for me, the disconnection, I think it wasn't sudden, right? Obviously I know it wasn't sudden, but I feel like it was at some point. I had some sort of conscious awareness that I was doing it, but I felt like I needed to do it at that point. Like I need to survive, and I need to feel worthy. I need to feel that I'm enough. And this was the only way. So it wasn't sudden, like disconnection wasn't sudden. It kind of was like a slow, quiet kind of pain that just, I just stopped checking in with myself, with my heart. For me, it cost me everything that mattered. It cost me my peace. It cost me my presence with my children. It cost me emotional intimacy with my husband. My health, my joy, my voice. I wasn't able to be my true self. I couldn't really speak and say what I really wanted because it was against everything that I was doing. The pressures to be perfect turned into anxiety. The silence that I created turned into depression. I was living life from my head, not my heart. I was surviving. I was not even existing. I was strong. I wore strength like a badge, but I was exhausted. Man, was I exhausted. I just didn't know I didn't even know my values. I didn't know my purpose or my faith. I definitely, I had no faith. I believe that it was all me. No surrender, no softness, no trust, no nothing, no one. And in chasing everything that I was chasing, I definitely completely lost myself. So those are the things that it cost me. Me, first and foremost, and a lot of pain right after that, you know. So that was my cost for just disconnecting, for being in that moment of disconnect.
For me, I feel like it costed me like my childhood softness, the innocence in childhood, you know. I feel like it also costed me the freedom to just want to be held and cared for. Like I started becoming hyper independent and saying things like, I don't need anyone. I'm going to take care of myself. So then that in return meant no one's going to be there for me. No one's going to hold me, right? It also costed me the safety to have needs without feeling guilty, right? Not even knowing my own needs. And then also, if I did have a need, feeling guilty that I had
Oh my God,
the need, right? The ability to be able to rest. Oh, that never
rest is for the weak.
Ever happened, ever. Like I was not able to do that.
Nope.
Parts of my voice, my truth as well. My softness and my feminine energy, always being strong, hard, hyper independent, and not allowing myself to be vulnerable or soft in any way, shape, or form, or loving,
or be held,
or open, you know. It also costed me presence in moments that really mattered. Like you said, like when we were raising our children young. Now I'm grateful I have it. But I did miss those years when my kids were babies, right? And we didn't have that awareness.
Nope.
So we didn't live it in presence.
No, we
lived it in survival.
Exactly.
In survival, and with old patterns and old behaviors, and, you know, all that came with that. And even though we now been able to find peace in it, thinking of it is still painful, regardless, right? It also costed me to trust in the world, that the world was a safe place, or to trust in life itself, to trust in abundance, to trust in receiving, to trust in general that life, and that there's a higher source that holds me and takes care of me.
Yeah.
I stopped completely, like, shut it all down.
Yeah.
Completely, all of it.
You like cut the cord, completely cut the cord.
Also, moments of joy and play. I stopped playing. I stopped doing things that are fun. Like, I didn't even like to dance anymore. I didn't want to be in parties. It costed me all of that.
Yeah.
Just being so rigid, so closed, so like shrinking for others, just hiding, you know, isolating. Costed me a lot. I mean, I could go on and on, but these are some of the main things that I paid. Like,
and it's who you are. Like, it's who you are, but we like shut that person down, and we say, no, you can't be, you're not safe to be yourself.
Yep.
You're not safe out here. You know? So all of these performances we have to keep up with. And I remember that shit was I remember telling you, I'm so fucking tired. I'm so tired. Like, I'm exhausted. I just want to let it all go and I don't care what happens, you know? It was exhausting. And that's because we're not letting our true selves come through. We're not connected. We're not surrendering. We don't have the faith. We don't have the trust. We're out here thinking that it's just us on our own, you know? And we're so far from that. And, you know, I feel like that's when we hit those moments, when you hit those rock bottoms, that's when the awakening begins. That's when something in our bodies, like our cells, I don't know, our heart just starts like really saying, all right, okay, you're exactly where I need you to be now, because now you're going to listen, right? I tell people all the time, I'm telling my coworkers right now, because they refuse to take time off when they're sick. They refuse to go home when their babies need them or whatever. And I'm just like, get out of here. Go. What are you doing? And they're just like coughing up a lung. And I'm like, why are you here? Because I feel so bad. And I'm like, what? Like, if you don't listen to your body when your body's telling you, guess what? Your body's gonna tell you, fine, you don't want to listen, I'm gonna make you listen. And it's gonna be 10 times worse. And then you have no choice. You're still gonna be taking time off, you know? Sure enough, it's what happens, you know? But that's the awakening. That's hitting rock bottom, you know, in every single way. I feel there's something so powerful about that, about losing everything that isn't truly who you are. I feel that that's when, for me, that's when God started rebuilding me from the inside out, right? That's when he said, okay, all right, are you ready? Because, I mean, there's nowhere else to go anymore, you know? So I had no choice. And it didn't come in a single moment, right? It came like in little pieces here and there. It came through anxiety that just would not go away, right? I was experiencing the worst anxiety. I just couldn't sleep. I was spiraling every single minute of every second, every day. It was terrible. It came through depression. That depression forced me to stop. I had no choice. I didn't stop when I needed to stop. And then I come and I hit this wall and it's like, well, you have nowhere to go now. And so I had to sit there with my anxiety, with my depression. It came through my kids' faces because when I was forced to stop, I was forced to see them. And like you know, you've mentioned before where you see them and you're like, wait a minute, like I love these little things here that I created. Like they're so fun, you know, it forced me to see them. And that was painful because I was reminded of everything that I had forgotten. That was super important to me. So that was painful. It came through faith for me. I had to I knew I've been chasing faith for a while already. I just didn't know. I was too scared to face it because I was ashamed that I had put it away because I didn't, again, I've mentioned before, and when it comes to faith, growing up in 2 different religions when I was young and learning all about them throughout even my teenage years, there's a lot of confusion. There's a lot of moments when nothing made sense. So I just kind of said, the heck with religion. I want nothing to do with it. So, but somewhere in my heart, I knew that I wanted that. So that's how it came, it came through faith too. I started doing a lot of self-talk, which was extremely helpful for me. But I feel like somewhere deep down inside for me, I needed more. So then self-talk went into prayer. I started praying to God, manifesting and asking the universe. I started speaking to my angels, talking to my higher self, agreeing with, learning from. So it was a lot of talk. A lot of that was how I was starting to connect again. And when I started doing that, I realized how disconnected I had become, but not just from myself, from everything, everything that's more than me, that's more, and that has always been connected to me. When I pray, when I do self-talk, I feel super connected. I feel seen. I feel held. I feel whole. And that's how I know that I'm not alone. That's what makes me feel super connected. That's what's worked for me the most. And even guided, which is crazy because once you start to do that, for me, the synchronicities, the signs that I get, whether it's a song, whether somebody just said something that I so needed to hear, whether it's numbers, which I get a lot from, which I feel like I'm getting them all the time. I feel guided. And when I surrendered, I just felt peace for the first time in years. When I said, okay, I'm not alone. I see it. I feel it. I know you're here. I know it's not me by myself. I felt the most extreme peace every single day that I can do that. The peace that overwhelms me is just, I just can't ignore it. And so that connection for me has been life-changing, honestly. And it doesn't even matter what state I'm in. Sometimes some days feel really strong. Some days feel really hard. And again, we're human, so we can go back to that fear wants to kick in, that survival mode wants to kick in. But I know that I'm not alone in this. Like, I'm not alone. No one, I'm not. I have to go back. I have to surrender. And that feels, it's everything. Yeah. And that's been like the thing that has helped me, like definitely helped me, was that awakening and realizing and remembering, remembering again, like remembering who I am, remembering what I want, even through the most painful things. Because that's how that's how it started for me. Through the most painful moments, like the most beautiful things came about.
Yeah, it's usually when we give ourselves in a very hard way a sacred pause, right?
Okay. When we didn't want the sacred pause, but the sacred pause was like, girl.
Yeah. For sure.
Are you gonna take it or you're gonna take it? You know?
I feel like for me, some things that I started doing to come back, to myself, was one big one was definitely slowing down. Like I've said before, right before this, it's just I was someone on the go, always busy. That was one big thing. Slowing down, surrendering, definitely surrendering. That was huge, because all of my life I had been someone that needed to control everything to feel safe, to feel like I'm okay. So learning to let go, learning to surrender, to trust that, like you said, I'm not alone, was actually a big eye-opening when I was able to truly embrace that I'm not alone, I'm guided every step of the way, and that I'm something much bigger than this body. That did it. When I had that realization, you are not this body. You are something much defined than what society has told you are, than the body, than your beliefs, than your environment, than childhood, than trauma. Oh God, that did it. And then I went that road. I went on that road, and that's just kind of what led me on, every little path.
Beautiful is that, to have that realization.
It was super scary because when it was coming to me, it had been for a while. I was rejecting it. I would like shut it down. I was like, no, I can't. I'm scared. I don't know how to feel, like what's happening. I was having all these moments, but then eventually when I was there energetically and I surrendered and I trusted that I'm not alone, that I'm guided and that I'm protected, things just started changing like magically. I can't describe it other than just it felt magical. Everything, like you said, synchronicities left and right. I mean, so many. I could go on and on. Animals, numbers, angels. I mean, so many things were guiding me and leading me down the path. I don't even know how I was doing it, because I had, at that time, there wasn't much conversations about this. I had no guides. I didn't have a physical friend that I can talk to, a coach, a mentor, nothing. It was all non-physical guidance, angels, my guides, God. And I just was being asked to trust that I was being guided. But it also felt weird, because like, well, I can't see you. How do I,
Yeah.
But it was just having this deep inner trust that I'm being guided and held every step of the way.
Yeah. And that's so beautiful.
Yeah. But scary and beautiful. Yeah. Scary at the beginning, but once you surrender, then beautiful. Like just magical. And then that's when people start saying, what, something's going on here, right? Something's happening here. What is it? Like, and sometimes you don't even have the words yourself yet, because you're just going through it, right? But But yeah, I remember that those things definitely helped me, and just another big thing was allowing love in my life. Had been rejecting love for so long. I can't even remember when was the last time I was accepting love.
Yeah.
I wasn't accepting love from anyone. No, don't get too close to me. None of that. Right.
Yeah.
Even in my own marriage, like there was a certain boundary, like, okay, don't cross that line of love. Okay. Love me this much
from far away,
but don't love me beyond this line. Okay. And my poor husband saying, like, what's wrong with you? You know, like, why do you want me to love you more?
Give me 5 flowers. Don't give me 6.
Yes, exactly like that. It's ridiculous, but that's how closed off my heart was. Yeah. Like, I was afraid of opening my heart.
Yeah, because that didn't feel safe. It didn't feel safe for us, you know? That was... Where's the dysfunction? What do you mean? I can survive with dysfunction. I know how to deal with dysfunction. That dysfunction seems normal to me because that's what, you know, that's what my mind is used to. My heart is used to. Like, why are you... Something's wrong with this guy, you know?
I used to think
exactly.
That. Yeah, for sure.
Oh my God. So healing through the awareness, right? I feel like growing up, I was never taught how to feel. I feel that my parents were emotional. They were emotionally unavailable, right? If I cried, I wasn't held. No one's trying to understand it. I was just met with confusion, or silence. So I just learned to shut it down. I feel that I learned that feelings made people uncomfortable, right? And that showing feelings meant you're weak, and it made me feel uncomfortable. So I shut those down too. That was the root of my disconnection. You know, I think that's kind of where the root is, kind of talking like about what you mentioned, but I just didn't know. I don't know if I had any of that awareness. I didn't know how to sit with sadness either, or frustration or fear, or any emotion. So I suppressed all of them. But, you know, like they say, and we know now, the emotions we bury, they don't die. They don't go away. They don't disappear. They just wait. They just wait patiently. And they show up when they want. And they show up as anger, as anxiety, or overachievement. So now, you know, that I'm feeling all over again, and I'm accepting all these emotions, and I'm allowing myself to feel all of this. When I do feel anger arise, I pause. That sacred pause that we talk about. You know, when I see my kids cry, sometimes I have to catch myself, because I'm not gonna lie, my instinct wants to say, like, why are you crying? You know, stop crying. But I have to remind myself that they're expressing something that I was not allowed to express, you know, and I have to be okay with it. And it's still not easy for me to just, like, that's not my automatic response, is to go and, like, understand and hold them. You know, it's just not my automatic response. I have to, like, switch it on, you know. But again, we've spoken before about healing, and coming through this journey is not about perfection. It's just about being aware, and choosing to respond differently, even when we want to. Our instinct and our ego is to, like, protect us, right? So we don't feel. And that's kind of where I feel like those things happen. All of that was one of the things that led me to, you know, like, it led me to how I ended up feeling fully disconnected. Because of that's how I grew up, and just feeling like these things didn't matter to anyone. I didn't matter to anyone. And somehow, some way, I wanted to feel important and worthy and loved, accepted, and I wanted to show it to everyone and prove to everyone that I was worthy. And so I feel like that's where it all came from. That's just my intake for myself, you know. I mean,
yeah, no, I agree. We all have places where all of this has rooted from, right? The effects of it is just what we see playing throughout our life, right?
Yep.
A little bit about some of mine is one of the ones, like I said before, being the oldest daughter, for me, what truly affected me a lot was just growing up too fast. Being asked to just grow up. I had no time to be a kid. No time. While my sisters played outside, I was raising my two little ones. Like, so I was not, you can't be a child. So growing up too quickly.
They put you into parenting mode.
Yes, I was the mom of the family, the nurturer, the one that took care of the kids, the one that just was responsible for everything, right? So I definitely think that a lot of it came from there. Also, I had no emotional safety. I was my emotional safety at 7, 8, 9, 10 years old.
Yeah.
So
and what does that even look like for you,
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, I all I could remember was getting through it. I journaled so much. I just journaled. I would go through journals like crazy. And I think it was just me processing my emotions, and then also becoming the emotional protector of all my siblings, right? Because at that time there was a lot of physical abuse, mental abuse going on. So I felt responsible not only for my own self, but for these 4 other little girls, right? So becoming the emotional protector. And so then that turned into me not learning how to process my own emotions because I was the caregiver for my siblings. I was in a position to look at how I felt, I had to take care of them and be their protector. So then years later, I'm an adult who doesn't know how to feel, who only is able to hold others when they're not okay, and I become the emotional protector for the whole family. But there nowhere in that is there room for me,
for you,
So
yeah,
definitely.
Oh yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, it was,
and that goes for a lot of people that were the oldest.
Yeah,
the oldest child. That's a lot.
Yeah. So just now, I would say a couple years ago, and now I'm learning to finally hold myself, begin holding myself, asking for help, feeling my emotions, put boundaries, separate myself from, because for so many years, my identity was, I'm the caregiver. I'm responsible for my sisters, even though they were adults. I didn't know how to separate that until now.
You carried that identity with you for so long.
Still,
it just followed you.
Yeah, to this day, it's still there, but it's not working against me anymore, right? Okay. But it's just recent that I've been able to set those boundaries, cut the umbilical cord because I was attached to all of them, and right. So it's just definitely has a lot.
Yeah. For sure. I mean, I think that's something that's a lot of people can relate to when it comes to, again, being the oldest. And a lot of people are in that same situation, and they don't realize that that's who they define themselves as, that's their identity. And they're always exhausted, yet they don't understand why,
I just had a conversation a couple of days ago, maybe a week ago, with eldest daughter too, who I ran into, and she started opening up to me, and she's telling me, I'm finally at a place where I want to start looking for my own well-being. But she's probably my age, almost 40, right? I want to start looking for my own well-being. All my siblings are okay now, so now I can take care of me. And the most proudest thing in my life has been that they're okay.
Oof.
So when I was hearing her say that, I'm like, well, why is she reflecting that back, right? Because this lives in you too.
Yeah,
it lives in me too, right? Yeah. Putting my life on hold. I literally have paused my life, my whole life, to make sure others are okay. And that's what we do. Sometimes we fall into these patterns without noticing, that we're in them.
That's what you were doing to ourselves. Yeah. Shoot. Well, now we are connected, so what does living connected mean to me now? I mean, for me, it means freedom. It means falling in love with myself, with all of me, with the shadow and the light, with understanding, with really being able to see myself, my shadow, understanding, and having compassion for her. It means no longer shaming myself for what I did, for what I didn't know. It means empathy. I finally have empathy for myself. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, guys.
That's a big one.
Jesus Christ, you guys have no idea. Stevie had to help me with this one too, just so you guys know. That was something I never had for myself before, ever. And I struggled with that. I struggled with it. And now I can hold myself with empathy. I could see myself in empathy. And yeah, it's beautiful. I'm living connected. I'm living connected. And that to me means being present with my children, laughing with them, laughing with my husband, creating art with my clients, allowing my creativity to be a source of healing instead of something that I would hide and deny, because for many, many, many years, practically all my life, I used to say that I'm not creative. No, there's not 1 ounce of creativity in me. And I kept saying that to myself over and over and over and over. So I believed it. And that's bullshit, because I love being creative. I love having the freedom to create. Mm-hmm. Being connected means boundaries. I have boundaries. I set boundaries. I balance myself. I have a purpose. Ugh, that's another one. Mm-hmm. You know how many years I went in life avoiding that question, because I didn't even know what the question meant. I had zero clue about why are people out here asking about what's my purpose? I don't fucking know. Like, who knows that? That's so ridiculous. Okay, guys, I know my purpose. Being connected means letting go of control, because it is not something for me. I just went to service this Sunday, and it said that control is a God. It's a God thing. It's not a human thing. Like, we don't have control. He does. I trust his timing. For me, it means choosing peace over performance. And I choose peace over performance every day as much as I can. Sometimes my human wants to come in and my human mind, my ego wants to come and do and say something, but I try and check myself real quick. But yeah, just having faith. I know that God has me, and all I have to do is surrender myself, let go, and let God. That's what it means to me now. That is what living connected means to me now. What about you?
Living connected now means that I trust life now, instead of, like you said, trying to control, because I was a big control freak. I mean, big. So living connected has, helped me trust life now. Also, living connected is being authentic. Like, I just began giving myself permission to be myself, to be authentic, I don't need to be perfect. Being one of the symptoms of being the oldest daughter is trying to be perfect, so that you could just get any ounce of love that you can receive, right? So now I just allow myself to be who I am, right? To be who I am in my authenticity, to speak my truth. I no longer silence my voice, because I was someone that used to silence my voice for peace. Although I was very expressive and outspoken, but I would do it for others. So I could stand up for you any day, right? But when it came to standing up for my truth, that became difficult because then it meant that I was going to have to choose between peace or my truth. So I kept choosing peace. So now I could speak my truth. I have boundaries, exterior boundaries and inner boundaries, which have been the most important for me, because being aware of my own inner boundaries has led me to me no longer crossing certain things to betray my own self.
Yep.
Because yes, boundaries are important with others, but the most important boundaries we can have are the ones with ourselves. Yeah. What are we not willing to do to our own selves anymore? And another big one has been to include myself in my priorities, to know myself, to just know, like, embrace myself. Because for so many years, since childhood up until when I became aware, I was a caregiver, a caretaker. someone that just gives and gives and gives. I didn't know myself.
Yeah.
And being connected took me to a place of getting to know myself, my needs, my pain, my trauma, where my sadness came from. Just getting to know me in those very vulnerable parts of me, and including, like I said, including myself in everything now. I don't leave myself behind.
Yeah.
I'm a priority now,
Yeah.
And that's what has changed. And also definitely being super connected with my children emotionally, not just physically, emotionally in tune with their hearts.
Yeah.
And also with my husband, finally surrendering to love, right? About 2 years ago, he told me, like, you finally let me in after 15 years, because I finally surrendered.
What do you mean? You've been here. Yeah. Totally get it.
Emotionally, I was not putting my guard down. So just being connected meant it's okay to put my guard down. It's okay to rest, to trust God, to trust life.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally get that. That's, you mentioned that it's like when you mentioned putting yourself first. How many people have you heard this, where people say things like, oh, that's just being selfish? Have you heard people say that? Like, that's just another, you say all these things just to be selfish, just to think about yourself first. Like, that's so selfish.
Yeah.
What do you say to that?
I think the word itself tells you, like, selfish, right? Self.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I am selfish. Yeah, I do look at myself like, yeah,
Yeah.
And yes, people the only reason people say that is because they have a belief that doesn't serve them. Mm-hmm. That's it. If they put other people ahead of them, I don't blame them. It's just that they have not reconciled with their own self. They have not embraced their own selves yet. Mm-hmm. They think others are a priority because of the pattern and the environment they're in. People are in survival, mm-hmm. And when you're in survival mode, you don't take care of yourself. You don't even see yourself. You're just surviving day by day, But it is a painful, because we've been there. I know it's painful.
Yeah. Totally. Well, I mean, I definitely think that for me, this is always going to be my number one, like, lesson, my hardest lesson learned, that I hadn't lived through, because I definitely thought that, I don't know, but I guess I definitely thought that success was going to make me whole, like a whole person, but it didn't. It was surrendering myself that finally did. And disconnection was not my downfall. It was just my entrance, like my doorway. It broke me open so that I can know who I am, so I can learn myself, so I can rebuild, and with intention this time, right? So I definitely feel like I live slower, I live softer, I'm way stronger, and my worth is not in my title. It's my truth. It's my awareness. I found my awareness. I definitely feel that people who are, I don't know. At the same time, I also feel like disconnection is part of, like, the human experience, right? I mean,
because to be human, to be a human means that you come to earth to forget. So the journey is forgetting and then remembering. Yeah, that's true. We remember. We at all will at some point drift away from who we truly are, like, by all these distractions, by social media, by achievements, by the expectations that society has put up on us. We're going to be silenced by our survival mode, by our everything that happens in life, right? We're going to disconnect. But the beauty is that we can always return, exactly like we just said, right? It's not about being perfect or having it all figured out. It's about being present, choosing peace over pressure, truth over titles, and alignment over all the approvals. So living connected can mean honoring your values, listening to your intuition,
and allowing grace to guide you. It's remembering that your worth has never been tied to your productivity, but to your presence. Remembering that you matter just as much, that even everything we've struggled with, it's still a part of you, but that you can bring all that back home to you and there's still remembering who you are as a person, like finding out your true self and loving yourself like wholly, like we've mentioned before, all your shadow self and your light self. So if you've been feeling like you're on autopilot lately, if you're feeling numb or you're questioning your path, this is just kind of a reminder that you're not lost. Don't feel shame. If you ever felt disconnected, don't feel shame for it. Don't feel guilty. Now is your time to come home to yourself and feel that surrender and feel that peace that we're discussing right now, that we're talking about, that freedom, to just be. It's just beautiful. So, yeah, that's kind of my thing on that one. And hopefully anybody that's listening can find that or even something can resonate and can bring you back to it.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Hopefully this conversation has resonated with someone and they take a thing or two out of this. Of course we share always our story from an open heart because hopefully this can touch someone else, right? Mm-hmm. And just because our journey looked one way, it doesn't mean that yours will, but just know that there is that path, right? Mm-hmm. The path is there, and what it will unfold for you, it will be uniquely to you, mm-hmm. right? I always remember, I always like to remind people the power of surrendering, right? And not surrendering to anything outside of you. To me, the biggest change was surrendering to myself. Mm-hmm. Simply surrendering to myself, to God, and life itself. Mm-hmm. That was it. No secret recipe. Just simply saying the words.
Yeah.
Like, I'm done. I'm done trying to control life.
Yeah.
I'm done trying to use armor to keep protecting myself. I'm done carrying the heavy burden. I'm done living with masks. I'm done. I'm tired.
Yeah.
And just having that deep surrender is what changes everything.
Because it is exhausting to try and control. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is what the message I said is control is a God category, not a human one. Mm-hmm. So I remember reading that and I was like, oh my God. And then there's another one that said control is rooted in doubting God's goodness. And this one, what you try to control the most reveals where you trust God the least. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I remember seeing that and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So eye-opening.
Yeah, and even deeper, it reveals, it even under God is just telling you, you don't trust life. Mm-mm. And you don't feel safe.
Yeah.
And then
if you don't
that's the pattern.
Let's figure it out why, right? Mm-hmm. Oh my God. That was so good.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, thank you guys for listening. Again, all we want is to share our story. And if it resonates with you, if you feel connected in some sort of way, we're glad you listened. And we hope that it helps in one way or another. If you know of someone who might need to hear the message, pass it on. You know where to find us at Unlocking Our Code podcast. We'll catch you on the next one.
Bye.
Bye.